So you're looking at, for buying down a rate, you're looking at roughly, $5,000. Could be more depending on the scenario, but
could it scale to be like the 1% of the property value, or?
So so the point is based off the loan amount. So and not the sales price or the property value. So it's always going to be based off the loan amount. So whatever that is. So if you're putting 5% down, then that gives you, $475. So it's me 1% of that. But yeah, the higher that loan amount is, then the higher that amount is that 1 point is going to equal out to. Is that your question?
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Yeah, that's great, because we didn't factor that in when we were doing the calculation. We didn't say, was it 5% or was it 20%? Was it getting help from the builder? Because that's another thing. I've had many buyers that say, well, can we just like I think Dinosaur D said, can we get a lower house price and get them to help us with some of the closing costs, right? And then you have, if it's not a new construction, if it's a resale, then you have to think about potential repair costs. And there is a cap for all of this. The sellers can only contribute so much when it comes to proceeds. After that, it just has to be price. And so that's a really intriguing conversation. And they're not going to want to lose all their money, so all their equity.
Exactly. I mean, I've seen a lot of negotiate. Oh, sorry.
No, good. Yeah, you see a lot of negotiation. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've just been saying there's been a lot of great negotiations lately. Like I have 2 buyers closing this week that they got all their closing costs covered, and one, was eligible for down payment assistance, and that does still exist, but no one's really done it in a long time because of how competitive the market was. And he's not having to bring anything to closing. He's getting money back. And I haven't had that happen in a long time. So
which loan type is that? I know down payment, but is it T-Shack? Like which one?
So this one that we used for him was TDHCA, and it was with an FHA loan.
FHA loan. Mm-hmm. And then when we looked at FHA, we're looking at, let's see, the moving average right now for FHA is FHA 30. We're calling it 6.68. So
FHA is usually a little bit less. Our government loans are usually always going to be a little bit less than conventional loans on pricing.
Got it. Okay.
But still with the PMI. So
yeah. I want to get your take on this. Patrick Bet-David runs Valuetainment. He's really gone after realtors and lenders recently, basically saying like, if a home is worth $1 million and the rates are this high, that you should be offering like $700,000. Like he's like really like saying that you should be dropping prices. And he's also keeps saying that we're going to 10% interest rates. And he's saying all realtors and then lenders are going to lie to you, whatever. So that aside, I do still find it funny that he works in insurance and they are impacted by the housing market. So it's kind of funny anyway, like just the way he like comes after realtors, like you're in a service industry, dog. Like
I think some of it sensationalism.
Yeah, of course, he's going for clicks. But my question, I guess, more all, and for you in the chat as well, is do you see 10% being an interest rate on the horizon? I mean, he's using some. I find it's interesting, like how he's pulled data on a few things. Like he basically, oh look, foreclosures are up 700%. Like, oh my gosh, like you're missing a lot of context when you say things like that, right? But I just want to get, in the chat as well, what do you think the likelihood is that we do go to 10% on interest rates?
I do want to comment on that for a minute, though. I think the fact that you have all of these realtors, lenders, everyone in the industry, just really taking a step back and thinking about it, how many people have I said, or have I heard say that they think that the rates are going to go up? Very few, if any, other than someone like him who has a huge audience and can gain something from it. And when I think about why I would say that, it has nothing to do with whether or not I want people to buy. It has more to do with what I think would be healthy for the economy to rebound. Right?
I guess my take on something like that is if you're telling everybody the rates are going to 10%, so deep cuts are still coming, the way I look at it is this. Okay, yes, you might be paying 10% for a loan. Let's say right now, I mean, the Austin numbers have come down. We can look at that in a second. But let's say right now you can buy a home for $500,000 at 7%. Maybe you get a buy down, maybe you get a 3-1 buy down like Sarah's talking about. you're going to get a lower rate and then if you wait for prices to come down to 450 and buy a home at 10%. Now, I'm not telling everybody to run out and buy a home. I'm just saying, like, you have to look at it both ways. You can't just say, okay, yes, prices are going to 10%, hold off and don't buy. But if you're buying a home at 450 and the interest rates, you know, 10%, you're going to have to wait a long time for those rates to come down to 5 point whatever percent to refi. Even though you paid less for the home, you're paying a shit ton more in interest rate that doesn't even go to the mortgage of the home. It doesn't even buy down the PTI. So, or PITI. So, I hear people say all this, but on the flip side, like, you can get yourself in trouble if you wait. So I'm not telling everybody to run and buy, but what I'm saying is, like, you have to do the math for yourself, right, Sarah?
Yeah. I mean, it has to make sense for that individual and what that plan is. Definitely. But I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say, hey, everyone go buy right now either. But I do think it's a good time to buy just because there's so much more negotiating. And I've had so many buyers come back that had buyer's fatigue that now can make deals and can get those seller paid closing costs and do have more opportunity. And I just think about the buyers from last year that wanted to wait because rates just started going up a little bit, right? And they were in the like mid threes and they were like, oh no, I want to wait till they go back down again. And then look, they waited and look where they're at now. So if you're in the camp of rates are going to go up higher, right? Then it would make sense to secure an opportunity now, you know, before that happens. So it doesn't, you know, screw up it doesn't limit your amount you can buy because we don't see housing prices coming super down, right?
Yeah.
So
not yet, but
like they've come down a little bit, I guess, from their peak, but they're not in Austin anyway. But I don't see them coming down enough where they could buy the same home at 10% interest rate that they could buy today, right?
Right.
So
yeah, the interest rate and the tax and that's a very interesting point.
That's hefty. But then that's when we also have other opportunities too, but only, you know, for certain buyers. I know we have, you know, like the all-in-one that we use where it's principal first. So then the interest rate is less of a impact on you because then you get to do principal first. You can, you know, have your money work for you and sit in the checking account and get credited to it. So you limit what the interest that you're paying on it. And I can get more into that later, but there's definitely different opportunities. And that's when you have to get creative. If you are in the camp that you think rates are going to go up, you know, or you're scared that you're paying too much in interest, then, you know, there are other opportunities out there. If you ask, like, how can I utilize these opportunities to better fit so I'm not spending so much money in interest? And it's more focused on the home and, you know, paying off my home early maybe and having, you know, more equity there.
Thanks for watching this short of the Real Amigos podcast. For more live streams, hit here. For more clips, hit here. We'll catch you on the next one.